Hello and welcome to my Sunday Frump. So today I have this lengthy journal entry that I wrote. I didn't write anything but about the situation. Like I think in Central America they're having floods. In the Caribbeans they're, like I said, they're having floods in the Caribbeans too. And of course that hurricane stuff moved north, and flooding was seen in parts of I think New York and the East Coast. So also I think the UK has like really really I think rainy weather, I think, and not real rainy, but I don't know, it looks like, I don't know, I love the rain, so I'm kind of jealous. But yeah, or the other things that are taking place right now, I didn't really cover a lot, but I did want to talk about this because the story is kind of like ongoing situation that kind of tugged at my heart, because I'm going through something right now that I feel like, I mean, we've all been through it, when you feel like you've been kind of knocked down and somebody played king of the hill on your head, or you feel like you've been bullied or pushed around too much, or maybe somebody, you know rained on your parade. They just wanted you, to feel like they were and be on their level, even though maybe you feel like you have succeeded and accomplished things because, there was something that somebody could say was specially unique about you, that you actually did, in fact, garner some type of accolade. And, no matter what size it was, I feel like that's our spotlight, and that's where we shine. And it's just facts. Everybody is good at something. Everybody has their moments, if you will. And I feel like there's some people that will just pull you no matter what. You could just be neutral as hell and not even think much, and somebody will just knock you off your, and make you feel like crap, kicking your sandcastles every chance an opportunity they have. This is the case. This is the case. It's a young politician. Um, I'm not going to say that he was the best morally. I'm not going to say that, he was the most just ethically, but he was a man, and he, um, for what it's worth, I think deserved praise in the eyes of the people who entrusted their town to him. And from what I hear, he was from that town. That was where he actually grew up and, had his roots. And, he was very much a hometown boy. And I feel like this story rung true in my life as well, to where I can say, you know, how dare you? So this is Carlos Menso, 40-year-old politician from Mexico. Excuse me, when women commit political violence, I think it's at least drama in the making. If nobody ever tells the story of what occurred the Dia de los Muertos Festival de las Velas 2025 in Michoacan, Mexico, then you may never have a reference for this truly senseless act of violation and bipartisanship. This storyline is surely short lived. And in saying so, Carlos Menso was a human being. So rest in peace, Carlos Menso. A local man from Uruapan, Michoacan, Mexico, ran for several positions, which quickly was granted because he wasn't known well as a political figure in Mexico. He was, in fact, heralded a hero in Uruapan, his hometown. There he spent time reflecting on his city and became one of the most vocal politicians, requesting backing and support of Claudia Sheinbaum, Mexico's female president. He stepped down, you know, when he held a seat. she didn't approve of. She requested he step down, and he did. He stepped down, but using his only left functional title. See, because when he stepped down, he resigned. He was forced to resign. There was 2 seats that he held, and they gave him powers in Mexico, the federal government. And she asked that one because she knew her play. And of course, that ended both terms at the seat, at his chairs. It says the title that he was left with, his only functional title. He used that, and it quickly grew a mass following just by the lure of, which Carlos Menzel started. And the opposite in his following base occurred, making Scheinbaum's attempt at shunning so as to cause doubt in his moral compass a total failure. In fact, it had completely exposed her faulty record of sabotage at the ballot, shedding harsh spotlight on what's to come in the future of her presidency, given her poor track record and inability to work with all levels of government and still hold dignity through the highest position in Mexico. See, Carlos Menzel was mayor of Uruapan, and they had a small meet and greet planned to where he mixed with townspeople, accompanied by local leaders and his family. See, the plot thickens when political violence, yet again, includes minors, children, our youth in the audience. He gave several interviews disclosing critical information that night that ultimately cast shadow on Claudia Sheinbaum. Making her look like she took her power and control battles out on civilian life. He simply stated he asked for help, pressed for federal level support, and even gave her several shout outs that caused her a trigger reaction. The chain of events seemed like they were planned. But when women in politics meet, sometimes things get intense real quick. As we have seen in the shutdown, which, by the way, on November 5th, will officially be the longest in history, breaking the 35-day record, which occurred around Christmas 2018, to be exact, December 22nd, 2018, past New Year 2019. It didn't even end until January the 25th. She started mocking his party online. And every time the people thought she referenced him, because she gives speeches all day, every single morning and day and night. Every time the townspeople thought that she had referenced him in one of those speeches. Violence would target politicians in towns around Mexico. Just a bat of an eyelash. And she grew more and more sinister. But he felt the projects he could see through would be worth the backlash, cancellation, and public humiliation. He wanted more, and with the strength of the people, he pursued it. As he was gathered at the plaza for the final intimate moment, he took in the fireworks, the ambiance of the candles, the aroma of the sacred flowers scattered in formation according to custom. His wife dressed as a Catarine. His kids he softly held tight, close to him, as he moved through the crowds, stepping to take a mic, and the music played. Folk music. The traditions continued. Then the fireworks stopped. The bangs were too close, very close. The crowd was running. The open plaza, the perfect crime scene. 3 politicians fell to the floor. Federal agents returning fire, running to identify the assailants. One look at Carlos Menso, and the white shirt he donned was soaked. Lots of pooling blood. Everyone was angry, instantly accusing. They all checked his vitals and then confirmed the assassination, which took center stage. 4 men on the floor, and the hometown favorite slowly getting colder. The EMS came on scene, tried to work on him. He never woke up. People were left wailing, crying out for justice, reaching for democracy in an abyss of shrouded truth. Obrador Lopez's pick, a communist play to give Claudia Sheinbaum power in Latin America, now weighed burden on the people, poised to bury their hero. They laid marigolds in the form of a cross. His blood stained the concrete. More velas placed around where his body laid. That grim night of political violence. Soon, the funeral was held nearly the morning after, causing more uproar. The weeping mother screaming for compassion and grief. The family wholly weeping loudly, consoling each other. More political figures showed up, knowing they weren't welcome. The crowd locked out of the building, shouted them down, all of them, filming and documenting each and every one of them as they passed. So all the politicians that did attend his funeral knew that they were not welcome. The townspeople wanted the funeral to be, dignified for their political figure. But, they were just so disrespectful. They showed their face, walked into the building, and just pretended, that they actually cared. But we all know it was a political move. They showed up in front of cameras, hundreds of cameras, just to say they were there. The procession was quite emotional altogether. His supporters in grief, talking to their beloved mayor as he, inside of the coffin, was carried to and fro. The government palace, reporters, activists, constituents, all on the grounds, demanded answers, chanting, "Justicia," only to break in the elaborate building and rioting there, making the most viral videos online, shedding light into this tragic situation where women of power, i.e., the lizards of the world, use their authority to kill. Once again, the trust of the people has opened doors in North America for bloodthirsty, genocidal tyranny, exactly like Kamala Harris. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. My son, De Frump. Goodbye.